Right, what is happening, people? Welcome back to another video. Um, it's been a while since I've uploaded. I normally like to upload at least every 2 days, but um, in case you haven't noticed, on the YouTube Shorts, I've been sort of building in public, sort of building the brand, and essentially I'm on a path, on a mission to monetize what I'm doing because I believe in it so much, and I feel like there are opportunities out there. So in case you didn't know, I actually left my part-time job to be able to do this full-time. It's not making any revenue as of yet, but that's my goal is to just go at it really for the next month. Sprint towards it. We've got a couple of ideas which I'm sort of showcasing on my Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. So it's the Hook HQ on all those platforms. So stay tuned to find out how well I do. If I don't, I go back to working. I go back to the drawing board. But if I do, and I manage to somehow find a way to make this work, then it could be the start of something. I'm still living at home, so it's good that I won't be chucked out on the street, hopefully. So I still have a roof over my head, but in terms of now it's just I've just been focusing on that. So but anyway, I thought I'd talk some boxing because I've been at it pretty much all day, outreach and trying to make things happen behind the scenes. But let's talk a little bit of boxing. And Moses Itauma against Philip Hrgovic. We had the press conference today. I mean, it is billed as youth versus experience. Itauma, 21 years of age. I think he's 13-0, 14-0. And Hrgovic has been around the block. From the way in which Hrgovic was speaking, there was it sort of felt like he had a bit of disdain for Itauma, considering how young he is and the amount he's achieved. But I think a lot of that comes from like the disparity in, I guess, opportunities given to athletes from smaller countries, from lesser countries that perhaps maybe don't have boxing at the forefront of their program. So obviously Hrgovic is he's Croatian, and I don't think there's a big Croatian following for boxing, and because of that, obviously I guess it's harder to find funding, it's harder to be noticed, it's harder to make money. So I guess I get some of what he is saying from that sense. I'm 30, I'm in my mid-30s, you're just a kid, so how dare you even be in this position? But I guess that's just the reality of where you've been born and the cards that you're dealt with. And he obviously had his cards were, I guess, less privileged in a sense because of where he's come from, his background, etc. But he's managed to work his way up. He's fought the likes of Daniel Dubois. That didn't go to plan. He won against Joe Joyce. He looked very good in his previous fight against Dave Allen. He's on a little bit of a roll. In terms of like the turnaround for the fight, I guess that fight against Dave Allen, it would have taken a lot out of him from a training camp perspective. Maybe he would have thought that fight would have been a little bit more competitive, but and Keith Connolly's manager did say that the turnaround was pretty quick. But I mean, you could take that, you could spin it into a positive and say, well, look, I'm fight ready. I've come off a training camp. I've come off a dominant win. And, instead of maybe taking a lot of time out, let's just get straight back into it. And I mean, he seems to be in a good place. Physically, I don't think he would have declined as much from that Dave Allen fight. Obviously, the training camps are a lot harder than the actual fights. That goes without saying. But in terms of how his body is primed, I mean, he fought 3-4 weeks ago, and he's now in good shape. He's got a baseline, and he's going to go out with Abel Sanchez up in Big Bear, and he's going to become even fitter. So this is a real test for Moses Itauma. It's going to be his toughest test to date, but he's managed to dispatch everybody that he has been in the ring with. I mean, Dillian White was meant to provide him with some rounds. He's headlined in Saudi, I think, at just 19. Dempsey McKean, Dillian White. Who was his last fight? Jermaine Franklin. I guess maybe as well, like, when you have that sort of power in terms of commercial power, in terms of, I guess, ability in the ring, fighters then maybe want to outprice themselves and think, well, okay, if I'm fighting Moses Itauma, I want X, Y, Z. I guess financially doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I guess I think there is probably a lot of frustration. But I mean, Hrgovic was bullish in calling for the fight, right? Like, not many people are calling out Moses Itauma, and he seems to be the only guy. So fair play to him. It's going to be a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. August the 29th in London. I mean, just in terms of what happens if Moses Itauma wins, and if he puts on a statement, I mean, he's truly announced himself to the heavyweight division. It was also quite interesting, actually, what Keith Connolly said, Hrgovic's manager. He said that if he does get past Moses Itauma, he's in line for a shot at the winner of Wardley Dubois 2. So, is that the same for Moses Itauma? Possibly. Then where does it leave the likes of Ajit Cabello? I mean, I feel for Ajit Cabello. Either he doesn't have the right people around him, or he's just being mugged about, or he's just waiting. He's waiting. He's done everything that he can. But yeah. Moving back on to Itauma, if he wins and he wins in convincing fashion, then the world is his oyster. The world is already his oyster, especially from the team he's got around him. From a commercial perspective, like, he is the guy, and not many people in boxing have that potential to cross over, and he does at just 21. So yeah, let's talk. What else shall we talk about? Xander Zayas, Jon Boots Ennis this week. Ben Whittaker as well on the card. I'll do a separate video on that. But I mean, just initial impressions. I was just watching some highlight clips of Jon Boots Ennis. I mean, what a fighter, first and foremost. Dispatched, I think it was Lima in his previous fight, first round, and then was meant to fight Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz had his ups and downs, his downs with Golden Boy, DAZN, and then ultimately that fight got scrapped. That fight should have happened already, but I guess Boots Ennis waiting, and then Xander Zayas in what is going to be a big week, the same day that England play, I think, Panama on the 27th. So it'll be a massive night of sport in the US. Also on the card, Ben Whittaker making his US debut. Yet to see what Ben Whittaker can actually do in the ring, and that's something that I'm looking forward to. If he gets his win in the US, can he fight somebody, a big name in the UK, and really prove himself, show himself to the rest of the division? The final thing I want to talk about is this narrative and this story that is surrounding Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I mean, there is no doubt that the fight will happen. Well, it's closer to happening than it ever will. But the people involved are... It's crazy how much sway people have and how that could alter the trajectory of things that quite possibly shouldn't be altered, or, would. So, obviously, I'm talking about promoter. Eddie Hearn has come out and said that he will promote the fight from Warren. I said that he will be involved in the fight. But Dana White has pushed back and said, well, I'm going to be involved in the fight. And obviously Turkey is pulling the strings behind closed doors. He's pledged to bring these people together, and come up with a solution. I mean, the fight has gone from being stapled on, dead on, for being fought in the UK in a big stadium, to now quite possibly being held in the US. And ultimately the fight shouldn't be held in the US. It should be held in the UK. It should be held where the fans are, and it should be held where where the appetite is, which is here in the UK. But in terms of, I guess, from a commercial perspective, I mean, you've seen here with the World Cup, right? You've seen how outrageous some of the ticket prices are, and the same thing can be said in the US when it comes to promoting this fight. The US fans are prepared to pay more, and I guess the ticket revenues, the sponsors, the commercial opportunity, and if Turkey's paying for it, and he's paying 200 million in a total pot for both fighters, I guess return on investment has never been something that he has looked at because of the decisions that the PIF have made in terms of Live Golf, in terms of this. But if he does want to make any return on investment on the fight, then I guess holding it in the US would be good strategically, but it would also be good in the UK. I'm sure they will generate the amount of money that or comparable amounts. So yeah, just the fight should be taking place in the UK. But I think I read an article actually, and I'll end with this, on Boxing Insider, which is a very good publication, and they talk a lot about that. They spoke about the fact that it's the broadcaster that has maybe altered the trajectory of things. The exclusivity has come back to haunt the promoters, and what I mean by that is Matchroom, Queensbury both have exclusive rights with DAZN, exclusive deals. Obviously, we've seen Anthony Joshua go fight against Jake Paul on Netflix, but DAZN released Anthony Joshua from. DAZN allowed that to happen. Netflix paid DAZN an amount to be released from the contract to there, and obviously because both promoters are exclusively tied to a single platform like DAZN, it then means that if a Netflix want to come in, well, now the relationship between the promoter and the fighter is sort of a bit shaky because that contract is dependent on DAZN, it being shown on DAZN. If Netflix come in, then it opens up a new whole can of worms, and I think that's the gripe, that's the issue. And I guess as well, maybe from a legal perspective, Netflix have to pay some sort of fee. I'm guessing it's going to be an outrageous and astronomical amount for DAZN to be compensated, because no doubt that a lot of people would buy subscriptions to watch that fight. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest hold-ups, I think. But it just goes to show that money talks, and everything is not as it seems, especially in the sport of boxing. But we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.